My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Today, Monday, is a holiday in the United States, Labor Day. And the first Labor Day was in 1882. It was a strike day, and it was organized by the Central Labor Union in New York City. They were fighting against long hours, bad conditions, and no one would recognize the day at first. And so in order to get recognition and to get the attention of those who were in charge and of the politicians, they struck. It was a one-day strike in which the workers would march in a parade, and then they would go have a big picnic and eat and drink and be merry. And it became, as you could probably imagine, very popular very quickly. Governments and politicians declared Labor Day a holiday, and it basically became a long weekend, a 3-day weekend, in order to appreciate workers by giving them a day off. So it's a day in which workers are celebrated by giving them, us, a day off, a day of rest. And I know that there are many listeners of this podcast, of 10 Minutes with Jesus, from all over the globe, not just the United States. But still, I think it could be fitting for us to talk to you, Jesus, about work and how we can grow in holiness by working, through my work. How I can imitate you, be close to you, become better friends with you, be more Christ-like in my work. This is an extremely important point because we spend a lot of time working. And by work, by the way, I'm using it in a general way, as general as possible, really. Referring to any activity almost that requires effort. And this includes study. It includes preparing and teaching a class, taking care of a patient, gardening, cooking and cleaning, the effort that goes into doing our prayer well, preparing and preaching this meditation, etc., etc. The list can go on and on. And in all these activities, we can do them for Jesus and for our neighbor and for our family. And also out of a proper, ordered love for ourselves. But if we do not have pure intention or the right intention with our work, if I do it in a selfish way, then actually my work can become a moment in which I actually distance myself from God and from others. And I hurt myself, or I become too attached to myself in a selfish way. Let's recall the words from the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Bible. Then God said, "Let us make human beings in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, the tame animals, all the wild animals, and all the creatures that crawl in the earth." God blessed them. He blessed man and woman, and God said to them, "Be fertile and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it." To multiply, to fill the earth, and to subdue the earth. It's part of the original plan, part of who we are, to work the land, to subdue it for God's glory, so that there can even be more abundant fruit in different ways. And so it's in that work, in that effort, that I can unite myself to the will of God the Father. It's part of His will for you and for me that we work, that we are engaged in all different kinds of activities that we enjoy, but can require effort and can be against the grain, activities that bring us great benefit, can bring us material wealth. But we don't do just for a material reason either. We do it because God has told us to. And I love God. Jesus, I want to love you, and you've given us an example because you worked. Years ago, there was a couple in the state of Tennessee, and they won the lottery. They won $1.6 billion in the U.S. Powerball lottery jackpot. That's a lot of money. And this couple, older, or middle-aged to older, they said that they would be keeping their jobs. They weren't going to just stop working or give up their jobs and just travel and that's it. They said they're going to keep their jobs. And they said, you can't just sit down and do nothing. The husband said that he would return to his job at a distribution center, and his wife would return to her position at a dermatologist's office. The husband said, that's what we've done all our life, work. You can't just sit down and do nothing. Again, it gets at that reality that we read about in the book of Genesis. We were created to work. It's good for us. When we sit around and do nothing and give in to our laziness, does it make you happier? Ask yourself that. And I can ask myself that. Does it make me happier? It may give me some immediate pleasure, but it's not going to make, but when I'm done spending hours doing nothing or just giving into my whims, my comfort seeking, my pleasure seeking, my entertainment seeking, when I do that beyond what I should, doesn't it leave a bitter taste in your mouth? Like, I just wasted a lot of time. Time that's actually not yours and not mine. It comes from God. It's been given to us by God. And so, in our prayer today, we've reflected on the fact that we're meant to work. And in these last couple of minutes of this brief 10-minute meditation, let's reflect on and talk to Jesus. We want to talk to you, Jesus, about why I work. Each one of us, we all have our different activities that we do. Even those being sick, that's your professional vocation, perhaps. You're very ill. How can you sanctify that? How can you offer that up? So each one of us, we have different activities. Why do I do them? What's the intention that leads me to do it? And there can be a whole series of mixed intentions. But we want to find the good ones and to focus on that. There's a quote from Blessed Alvaro del Portillo, the first successor as the head of Opus Dei of St. Josemaria, his right-hand man for many years. And he has a beautiful letter about work. And he says, I'm talking to you about having the right intention in carrying out your work. This disposition, which is indispensable in order to please our Lord, is not like a label stuck on the outside of a product once it's finished. No. Sanctification of work is not work that's perfectly done exteriorly and looks perfect. That's not sanctification of work. At its heart, it's not that. He says, Blessed Alvaro says, the purity of intention is the key to sanctifying our work. It's the most important driving force behind our work. Rectitude of intention consists in seeking only and in all things the glory of God. So, Jesus, very simply, whatever I've done today, this very meditation, I want it to be for you. And each one of the listeners to this, and not just listeners, you're not just passive listeners. Hopefully you're also trying to talk to Jesus and do your prayer. Tell him. If you want, you don't have to, but I encourage you to tell him. Whatever you've done today and what you're going to do, tell him it's for him. And try to tell him that many times a day. And we'll be on the path to sanctifying our work. And we're going to do our work better when we tell him it's for him, because we're going to want to try to please him and to do his will. We ask our Mother Mary to help us. Mary, you worked. Hidden work, oftentimes. There in the home. And very fruitful. Mary, help us work well for love of God, so that we will bear fruit that will last. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you've communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.